Hello and welcome to the Tech Marketing Podcast by Together. We're here to bring you the latest insights, trends and innovations in B2B and of course some fantastic guests. I'm joined on the sofa by two people that are no strangers to the Tech Marketing Podcast. James Houselander from HPE Aruba Networking and Amanda Fitzgerald, Channel Chief from formerly at Red Hat. Let's start off with a little bit of introductions. Amanda, let's start with you. You're joining me on a few podcast episodes recently.
I have. It's one of my passions. So Amanda Fitzgerald, 25 years, IT, partner marketing guru. Ex-IBM, was there for 15 years. I was head of global services, partner marketing at IBM. But more recently, 7 years at Red Hat, head of global distribution partner marketing and commercial partner marketing. So disties, huge go-to-market strategy with the disties, but commercial where the growth is going to happen. So that's my passion, and delighted to be part of this podcast today. And James?
Yeah, hi. So James Houselander, currently running marketing at HP Aruba Networking. Worked in the tech sector in various marketing roles for coming up for 20 years. Started my career at IBM and moved on to EMC and more latterly via a small acquisition that HP Aruba Networking made. Always been in hybrid roles between field and channel marketing, so I see it from both sides, but have also increasingly spent more time and focused on the channel marketing side over the last 5-6 years. So yeah, for us at HP Aruba Networking, roughly 95-96% of our business goes through a channel partner. So partners are really key to our business today. So again, very passionate about the channel. As I say, work very closely with channel partners and hopefully can provide some of my thoughts and insights into what we see working and not working and what we're trying to do.
So the dream team today.
And we're here to try and figure out that big question of how do you make sure you're maximising the ROI on your partners. Like, let's start firstly at the strategic level. Like, how do you bring, what kind of strategy can you put in place to make sure you are maximising the ROI? Like, who do you need to bring along on that journey? Like, Amanda, you would have done this at Red Hat.
I think selection of the partners, that's the starting point. And typically it's the salespeople, the partner account managers that are going to identify not just who brings in the revenue, but who's got the skill to grow the revenue. It could be in a new solution area. Red Hat, RHEL, our flagship product, they know how to sell, our flagship product. It's the OpenShift partners and the Ansible partners that we want to grow, and that's where the growth comes from. So marketing engaging with sales to identify who those growth partners of the future are is a critical starting point. And in the commercial sector, especially at Red Hat, we had our commercial focus partners. So we had to go deep into every geo. I was at Global, you were at EMEA. So going into the geos, asking them to engage with the field to find out who are your growth partners in every country. And then it's a question of mapping, we're spreadsheet gurus, aren't we?
Yeah.
Mapping those profiled partners and selecting, because we ended up with over 300 commercial focus partners across the 4 geos. And we have to select who are we going to invest time and effort in before we start building content. So I think that close collaboration with sales is critical, and selecting partners is critical.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's the main starting point, is engaging with sales. But I think where I've seen marketing sort of evolve over the time is actually being almost that consultant, that advisor to the sales organisation. And that comes through leveraging some of the data and the tools that we have at our disposal, rather than just relying on the input purely from the sales organisation. And the reason being is we actually use a couple of different models to do that. So we actually have a quadrant that we use. It's actually a 6-box quadrant now, we've evolved it. But really it shows you where your high growth, high potential partners are aligning to where you see in that business growth. So it's taking data from across previous quarters that, yes, you have to take as a guide, because there may be skews in there around previous years where there's been big deals, or with recent challenges around some of the supply chain backlog has caused some exponential growth or declines because products haven't been available. So we use that approach together with our sales organisation to almost advise and validate what sales are saying, or actually to start that constructive conversation with sales to say why we shouldn't be making certain investments. So we use that as a start point, but then also we have to take some of that qualitative feedback from the sales organisation in terms of where do they see maybe some of those high potential partners based upon the conversations that they're having at a business level, or potentially where they feel, is that partner ready to go to market with us? Do they have the right certifications? Do they have the right enablement and training in place? Which actually, in some instances, we're making more significant investments to make sure we've got partners that are ready to go to market. And that's because we're transitioning a little bit as a business into new areas. We have new technology, we're trying to branch out into new markets, whether that be verticals or taking new solutions to market, which means we need to sell to different buyers and therefore our channel becomes key. So that's where we need some of the qualitative feedback, but we're trying to very much start with that quantitative approach to really focus our investments. And that's a journey we've been over the last 3 years. And actually over the last 3 years, we've seen a 20% reduction in the number of partners that we're investing in, yet we've actually seen an increase in budget. So for us, that means we're heading in the right direction. Now it's about how do we measure the success of that.
That's an increase in budget and partner channel performance as well as a result in investing in less partners.
Yeah, so we've been on a steep growth trajectory over the last 5, 6, 7 years, which is great. And with that obviously becomes our channel continues to grow, and we see our channel managed business grow as well. So for us, yes, it's a growth of a business, and also as a result of that, which means we've invested more with our channel. However, we're really focusing who and where we make those investments.
Being selective is key.
Going back to your start point.
What's interesting, the profiling of the partners is critical to the selection of which partners to engage with. What we did for the very first time is look at their marketing capability as well, because it's always been focused on what are their solution capabilities and how does that match with the vendor growth strategy. But now we're sort of filtering in what marketing capabilities do they have, what ability do they have to actually build pipeline, because partners do want pipeline. It's not just that joint go-to-market strategy. So I loved what you just said about, marketing needs to be a trusted advisor, not just to the partner, but to the sales community within your own organisation.
Yeah.
So bringing everyone around a table and having those grown-up discussions very early in the planning process. And we started like in August the previous year to the calendar and financial year. So how does that manifest itself in HPE?
This is the main reason why we've gone down more of the focused route, because we want to make sure that it's scalable for our own people to manage. So if you've got a channel marketeer in region and they're investing with 100 partners, there's no way that they can spend the right time to make sure they've got the right plans, and then ultimately the right plans that are delivering the return to the business. So we've really gone down that focused route. So we're guiding each of our channel marketeers to be investing at least 80-90% of their MDF into 10 to 15, maybe 20 max partners, of which they're then having that seat around the table. And we've also actually brought new people into the team that have brought new skills. So we've actually brought more experienced people into our channel marketing organisation that come from that partner, that distribution landscape, or potentially in more senior roles outside in other vendors. In one instance, we've actually brought someone who came across from a sales role into channel marketing. So, and the reason we've done that is we've then got people that can have that credible conversation with the partner at a senior level to ensure that we have the right business plans, the right programs, the right activities in place. So that's really been the approach we've taken, is focus and then enabling the resources. And actually to evolve that to the next level, we do it in our own business. Marketing has a different role in the last year, 18 months in our own business, where we're very much an enabler of sales. The same thing's happening in the channel side. We're not just enabling them from a technology and how to sell and where to sell, but we're making sure at a region and country level, we're enabling our partner marketeers. So really making them become ambassadors for us within their own business, but also making sure they're getting something back from us. So we run, take the UK as an example, we run a partner marketing community where we bring them
Brilliant.
together on a quarterly basis, not just enabling
Music
them
to our ears.
not just enabling them
Yeah.
with our campaigns, our materials, but actually bring in third parties in to talk about how's account-based marketing evolving, what are we seeing in the digital world. So that's something we've done with our partner marketeers, and we also provide a service to our partner marketeers and our partners, in fact, through an agency model. So we have agencies that can support our partners right the way through the complete end-to-end, from putting something into our tools systems to executing and measuring the return, or actually potentially just supporting them with running their digital marketing. And we've seen the adoption of those agencies since COVID really pick up, because some of our partners realised they didn't have the skills, the expertise within their own businesses. They now leverage our marketing service agencies as well.
So this is a great segue into getting visibility, because we're very good as vendors, we're very good at investing MDF with our partners, getting visibility so we know what they've executed, but getting visibility of outcomes is the holy grail. It's the holy grail. So you mentioned the agency model.
Yeah.
So partners who don't have an in-house marketing capability isn't necessarily a barrier to entry.
No.
If they've got the potential to sell customer solutions that embed the vendor product or service, then you're offering your partners the marketing capability.
Yeah. And actually, one of our partners in the UK, in fact, probably one of our, if it's not our top two, so our top three partners, one of them actually uses the marketing service agency as their outsourced marketing team to do exactly that.
Love it. Yeah. So the whole theme for today is, how do you get visibility of outcomes? So we had 90% MDF spend, as opposed to sales had 70%. So spending money, we all know how to do that. Partners know how to do that. So how do we get better visibility of outcomes?
Yeah, this is the tough one, right? And I suppose historically, probably like a lot of other vendors, we've taken a tagging approach. So we go and tag opportunities, whether that's opportunities already that the partner has in the system with a marketing campaign code, or the partners tagging new opportunities. And we support them in the back end to make that happen from an operational perspective. What we've learned actually within our part of the business, but also as part of the broader HP organisation, is actually tagging takes a huge amount of back-end operational work. In some instances, maybe we're not driving the right behaviour or tagging of certain opportunities. So what we're actually doing at the moment is contemplating doing away with that tagging of our opportunities. However, that leaves you with a big gap of how do you measure the dark art?
How do you attribute
And how do you
revenue to a particular marketing motion?
Yeah, so that's something we're actually looking at the moment. So what we're teasing around with the ideas is, if we've got those top 20 partners that we're investing by country or by region, and we know that that's where the lion's share of our investment's going, if we've got the right engagement with the partners, we've got the right engagement with our channel sales teams, we've got long-term strategic plans in place, we should be able to measure over a period of time, how does our pipeline and how does our revenue grow with that partner?
Okay.
Are we penetrating new markets? Are we taking our new technology areas to market? And are we seeing the pipeline in those solution areas or those product areas grow? So that's something we're just working with channel sales operations at the moment to look at. How do we get that data, and how do we then use that data at a regional level?
Is the problem there, because what you're talking about is almost partner sales and marketing alignment. We often talk about sales and marketing alignment inside vendors, but really whenever I see that lack of ROI or visibility inside an organisation, it's because partner marketing inside a large partner isn't talking to partner sales, and they're not using marketing codes, and changing that behaviour for them to start using them is normally very, very difficult. That's quite a bold approach to go essentially to partner sales ops and start pulling that data. Is there any early signs you've seen that could work? It could mean that you have a big gap for quite a few months whilst you're able to analyse the impact of marketing campaigns.
Yeah, I suppose we've got a gap at the moment, because if we do away with tagging, we're not actually measuring anything on our direct marketing attribution.
Closure rather than pipeline. Yeah.
Well, we're just not tagging any direct attribution back to our campaigns. So we're actually just about to implement some channel reviews where part of those reviews with the channel leaders is to discuss, well, how do we demonstrate the return on investment that we've got, and how does the channel sales organisation but be part of that? Because I think it's a three-way play. It's not just the marketing engagement between us and our partners or us and our sales team. It's actually a tri-way play. You need the partner marketing and sales alignment to us as a vendor marketing sales alignment. And I always use the analogy with the team to say, if you're a partner business manager that has a weekly, a monthly review with your partners, surely one of the conversations you're having is not just what deals are going to close and where are they, but you're also looking at what new pipeline have you put on and where's that pipeline come from. So if they're having those discussions and marketing's part of those regular reviews with the partners, we should be starting to get a feeling back from the partner in terms of how our marketing investments are contributing to that overall business pipeline. And we're actually doing it in one of our areas at the moment where we measure sales initiated, partner initiated and marketing initiated pipeline. The marketing initiated comes from what we do from a direct engagement with the customer. The sales initiated is obviously sales generating opportunities into their accounts. The partner initiated comes from the partner, and that could be either directly from the partner or it could be through investments that we've made with those partners. So we're actually looking at that we call it PIO, that PIO number for that technology area, and then aligning our investments to those partners today. So we're piloting it in one of our
What
parts of our business.
What I love about James's approach here is it's all numbers based, it's all data based, and getting close to your marketing operations team is really key. So we talk about sales and marketing alignment within the vendor, but also marketing alignment with marketing operations, because getting that data, looking at pipeline, regardless of where it was sourced, whether it's sourced by the vendor, the partner, marketing, having visibility. It took me 3 years to get visibility because sales want to hold on to their data, marketing, direct marketing want to hold on to their data. I was sitting in channel marketing and I was knocking on people's doors desperately trying to get data. So in the end I got their data and was able to analyse it. But so we become analysts ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
But
We're
I think,
data analysts.
I think what I'm hearing here, though, which is very similar to what you achieved at Red Hat, Amanda. I remember you talking about this a couple of years back at the Channel Meetup. Is it's not just about data. Like James, you've mentioned quant versus qualitative. This is about building relationships and using some of the softer points of data in order to measure and prioritise partners. Because if we rely just on purely the hard data, we're only going to be investing in the CDWs, the Softcats, the really, really large partners. So it's, you essentially did exactly that, went around knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Like what are some of the softer points that we forget when we think about building those relationships? Like,
I think James mentioned this as well. What value am I adding to the conversation and what value can I offer the partner? As soon as you start talking about value, this is what I can help the partner with. Because partners are very good at building a joint go-to-market strategy with the vendor. That's what our partner account managers do. They plan that joint go-to-market strategy. What the marketeer comes in and does is help build that joint value proposition with the partner and vocalise that and get that value add out into their customers. So that's where the value add of marketing. So having those conversations with the partner account manager, getting the field marketer or channel within country channel marketer to have a seat at the table with the partner facing conversations on a quarterly basis builds the relationship, builds the trust, but you have to add value. And as soon as the partner hears the vendor marketeer, the field marketer or the channel marketer is going to help you build that joint value proposition and help you build assets to get into the customers, that's when you have partner engagement. You build partner engagement, you build partner trust. And this is why it's so useful. Even though I was at global level, I did the field marketing job, I did the geo marketing job, and then I landed in global. Having that full understanding of where you play to everyone's strengths, but you do have to build trust within your team, and then they'll let you speak to a partner. But it's all worth it. It's a huge investment of time. But that investment of time, building trust, will get you the end results that you're looking for. And you're helping the sales team. At the end of the day, we're no longer in those silos. Marketing used to stay in their lane, sales used to stay in their lane. We've been around for, several decades. Marketing has changed. Sales do trust us, partners trust us. And that is where I get my biggest satisfaction from turning up to my job every day, is building that trust and getting greater results. When you look at the incremental growth, having come together, having a marketer in the room when you're doing your joint go-to-market planning, building assets that the partner actually uses, the partners will, looking at their year-on-year growth, you'll see that year-on-year growth without necessarily at tactical level tagging, because you're right, we went through 3 years of pain at EMEA level, tagging every single MDF activity, but that doesn't close till 3 quarters down the line.
Or they've tagged the opportunities that close next week.
Yes,
Yeah,
or sales removes the tags, because marketing can put tags on. Marketing can put tags on, but sales can take tags off.
I would also just add 2 things to that as well. So there's a couple of areas of focus that we've had, particularly the last 12 to 18 months, but also for the last 2 to 3 years, and I'll give you 2 examples. The first one is we've actually, as a marketing organisation, been fully aligned with our EMEA strategic team, so our transformation office, in building out the vision and mission that we have as a business. And we communicate that to our sellers, but also out to our partners as well, so that everyone's singing towards the same goal, the same mission, the same objective. So that's the first thing. And then sort of a byproduct to that is we've actually carved some of our MDF out into a more of a strategic investment fund. We call it actually our business development fund, and we've aligned that to the areas that are going to be key to the future growth of the business. So what we've been doing at a regional level then is asking the regions to come forward with those partners that we see as the highest growth, most strategic partners for us as a business. And we're then sitting down and building 12 to 18 month plans with those partners that have KPIs assigned to them and goals around pipeline and revenue. And that therefore means that you're getting away, because the perception of channel marketing was seen as that MDF admin, number one. And number two, when you look at MDF investments, they were very tactical. And then we had hundreds of activities with a significant amount of partners. So by taking this approach, you're now actually changing the role of channel marketing to be more strategic with the partner and within the business. And you're also making those longer term investments that are fully joined up to the business plan.
Love it.
So there's just a couple of examples, and that all aligns back to the vision and mission of the EMEA business that marketing was part of creating for our fiscal year.
And James has touched on something that's really dear to my heart as well, is getting partner buy-in to the vision.
Yeah.
Because MDF is very tactical and very event-driven and campaign-driven, but getting the partner buy-in to the vision is key.
Yeah, and understanding the vision and feeling that they're part of that vision and mission that we're trying to drive as a business.
That's something that really speaks to me as well. 'Cause we talk about values and vision and mission. They're very internally focused things that businesses don't tend to publish openly. Like, have you brought, well, with partners, we talk about building a JVP, like let's put a value proposition together. Like, how did you bring partners into that vision and mission process? Like, did that become part of the the value proposition, or did that become, how did you engage them in that process?
So firstly, it's part of our enablement to our partners. So we always start with that direction, that vision, the mission, so that everything we then enable them around is linked back to, that's about going and driving those focus technologies, or that's about how do we go and drive new logos. Then when it comes down to those go-to-markets and those business plans need to be built around that vision of the business. And yes, to your point of then how do we create, if it's about going and penetrating a new market or taking a new technology to market, part of the investments we're making is not just around ensuring they have the enablement to go and do that or the certs. We're actually looking at how do we create those go-to-market messages, leveraging our content, our collateral that we have as part of our campaigns, and then also then aligning to take that to the next stage is then, well, how do you go and deliver that to their customers? So we actually now, as part of these more strategic plans, have funded heads which are driving business development. So they're the ones that effectively are the ones taking that message internally within the partner, but also then supporting the initiatives that taking that message to market. So yes, the JVP becomes part of that strategic investment you've made with the partner, and we do see increasingly, especially as we're taking new solutions to market, that the partners are looking for help and support to create that. And we also lean on our marketing service agencies to support the partners with creation of that JVP as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting, part of the commercial focus partner program that I was leading at Red Hat, we actually offered our focus partners a joint value proposition video. So we actually got an agency we had 300 focus partners and 100 of them took up the offer. So we actually gave them a fully funded promotional video which actually talked about the joint value proposition to their end user customers, because we, as marketeers, we know the value of having video content on social media, not just white papers to download and solution briefs. You know, having that the CEO of a partner on camera talking about the coalition with the vendor is powerful content. So getting the right joint value proposition, but articulating that in a way that can be consumed by the customer, that now becomes something that marketing can help with, and sales love it.
It's interesting because we actually did we have done over the last 3 years, a lot of work with some of the larger global service providers where we didn't really have a strong message to take to them around our offering and how the potential joint offering go to market. So we actually did engage an agency that worked with us to craft our value proposition to the GSPs, and then we identified the top 3 or 4 that we wanted to engage, and we've actually created joint value propositions with those partners. And actually that's now evolved with 2 of those partners that we're now taking that to market in joint activities to their customer base, which is actually taken off of an account-based approach.
Fantastic.
So we've actually run an internal enablement program that leveraged the joint value proposition that we created. We created supporting documentation, we used LinkedIn, we created sales presentations, etc. So that's a big piece of work we've been doing over the last 3 years, to your exact point.
What was the bit that stood out most for you when you created some of those? And I'm focusing here more on the internal elements. Like, which bit was most successful?
I think having to get to the point of having that joint value proposition meant that you had to engage the right people in the partner, and that then really sort of perked up the interest, and you effectively then had sponsors to take you into the right relevant stakeholders within the partner, and that really shifted the needle for us in terms of account engagement when we sat down and created that joint value proposition. And because we did it with a third party, it was that agnostic view. They saw it from both sides of the fence. So it wasn't us trying to create content and material that was being pushed in that didn't resonate. We'd engaged the right people within the partner to come together to build that value proposition, and then it became relevant for the partner, and therefore it spiked the interest. And we got great feedback from the partner and also from our own salespeople on that approach.
I think the partners, they have many vendors that they engage with, so getting partner share of mind and being a partner's preferred vendor, I think that is another strategic thing that marketing can help sales with, because sales definitely have that remit. You know, how do you elevate yourselves as a preferred vendor is a difficult one, but marketing can definitely assist.
And also, you're not going to always take share away from the competition, but it's actually about enabling the partner with a solution that they can take, the right solution they can take to their customers. And that could be done in parallel to other vendors that maybe we compete directly or indirectly against.
And those coalitions are becoming more and more frequent. So it's not just, you know, Red Hat and HPE solution, it's a Red Hat, it's triangulated. It's a combination solution.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem. Exactly. That's why we use the word ecosystem these days. That we never used that 5 years ago.
No.
So
I think what stands out really cleanly for me, and this is a podcast where we focused on ROI being our main topic, something that you normally expect to see on financial sheets and like lots and lots of hard data, but actually the softer side here, the emotional side, is coming out to be just as important to generate that, to make sure that we're getting the most out of our partners. You know, what I'm hearing again and again just from you talking around the values and the joint value proposition there, James, is that we need to find ways of building an emotional connection inside a partner. Sounds very strange to say, because B2B selling is, and it's still emotional at its heart. And if you can get the partner on side with your message, with your values, with your proposition, and get them believing in it, it will help drive that mind share that you talked about, Amanda.
Definitely.
And that's part of the reason why we try and influence the marketing people, so that our vendor name is always at the forefront. I want to go and work with that company. And also because another example, we try and communicate a lot to our partners, and sometimes that we got to remember that we're one of many vendors. Mm-hmm. So actually, if you've built the right relationship with our partner marketeers, then generally they may own a lot of the communication strategy within their companies and also to their customer base. And that sometimes helps us break through the noise. We leverage those relationships with partner marketing to amplify our voice and our noise within the partner, so that we're communicating whatever we might need to get to their sales organisation, to their technical organisation, whoever that may be.
The two partner marketing communications becomes critical.
Yeah.
What you're just saying, we're not just pushing content to our partners, expecting them to push it out to their customers. That's the through marketing assets. The two, why should the partner even care?
Yep.
So there's a huge piece of work there as well, but it makes marketing more integrated in the whole partner approach.
And we've taken that approach with our campaigns, actually. If you go back 3 years ago, we were spending a lot of time and money on repurposing our campaigns up to give them to partners, expecting them to take them to market, whereas actually they're taking elements of it. But what we've also incorporated into our implementation guides with our partners is actually the value proposition to our partners. So why should they take this? What is it? What's in it for them? So we really demonstrate what the market opportunity is, where the opportunity is for them to take this message to market, and why they should do it. So that's something we've incorporated into our campaign enablement to our partners as well.
Absolutely. And another topic that we might want to explore is, how do we map partners to accounts? Because the customer is king. And this is a conversation I've had many years with direct marketing versus indirect marketing. Direct marketing at a vendor level is all about the customer. So having that conversation, right, yes, it's all about the customer, of course it is. That's where the revenue comes from, the customer. But how do you map partners onto that customer base? That is a real challenge. And it's only done at country level.
Yep.
So you're closer to the countries than I am these days. So how do you tackle that?
So it's, again, a data approach. And actually for us as a business today, as I said, 95% of our business goes through a channel partner of some description. 30% nearly of our business today is actually owned by a partner end to end. So the remaining sort of just under 70% of our business could be where, in some instances, it could be partners fulfilling, it could be partners collaborating and driving a true cooperative sale together with our own salespeople. But what we're trying to do when it comes down to an account level is we have rostered and unrostered accounts, named and non-named. So the non-named is purely owned by the channel. The named obviously has an account manager from our side, which will know who that incumbent or that preferred partner is into the account, so should be and do engage their partner channel sales team as well. But what we're trying to do, again, across the broader marketing and sales organisation, is actually leverage data. So we've gone through an extensive exercise of propensity modelling. So we've looked at internal and external data sources. We've gone to media partners, data houses. We've taken data from our Salesforce system, and we've looked and mapped that against where we've done revenue over the last 3 years across the broader HP organisation, and also where our pipeline exists today. And what it effectively does is stack ranks your accounts into different tiers. So you have gold and silver. The gold obviously are the high propensity ones with the largest addressable market opportunity, and we know where that sits against the technology areas of our business. So that's really those top gold accounts should be the ones that we're focusing our direct marketing efforts on. Now, there's no harm in our partners also targeting those accounts as well, because that amplifies and starts to drive our brand into them. But what we're now in the second half, we've just had a new channel sales leader join us recently, and one of the focus areas that we have together with her is not only reviewing who the partners are we're investing with, but now saying, once we've identified who our top 100 partners are, for example, do we then know who the accounts are that we want to target with those partners? So we're effectively evolving our marketing approach into more of an account-based approach through our partners. And that way, if you've got that strong going back to the discussion earlier, the strong collaboration with the sales and the partner sales organisation, and then we start to provide data insights to them around who our high propensity accounts are that we want to go after, we can then align that marketing plan and our investments, and that should yield us the best return on investment because we're targeting those accounts where we know they have the largest addressable market opportunity.
And have you had much, and you're sharing that propensity modelling with partners today?
So we haven't got as far as that. We've been going through the last probably 9 months trying to get our own salespeople to adopt it, which is a challenge in itself. Now we want to shift that on to get our channel salespeople actually adopting and using and taking those data insights. And what that should fundamentally do is actually bring field and channel sales even closer together, and naturally field and channel marketing closer together, which is one of our marketing objectives for the year. So we haven't got to a point of we're using that data with our partners yet.
Because I think that's where we're seeing a big shift, especially in internal sales with some of the technology they can apply. Like we are going to see them accelerate significantly, and when we can start to bring that to channel, I think it's going to be a big game changer. But of course, it's got to be one step at a time.
And actually, through our direct approaches, we leverage digital marketing and LinkedIn to surround those accounts we've identified with highly personalised messaging. So we're getting good feedback from our own salespeople. So we want to take some of the things we've done from a direct perspective and actually showcase those to the channel. To say, here's some of the things that you can look to do within your organisations or get the support of our agencies.
One thing I want to dive into, because we mentioned it a few times, and this really struck home with me last week. Like deal registration is a very one-way process. I am a single partner registering a single deal back to a single vendor. But Amanda, you mentioned earlier, like it's an ecosystem we're dealing in now. Like, have you started to see any change in how you might measure or incentivize or even explore partners when they operate as part of a wider ecosystem?
That's a good question.
It's a hard question, right?
We've dabbled,
It's something.
I suppose we dabble, and it comes back to the whole tagging game, I call it, right?
Exactly.
Which is, there's instances, I'll give you to flip it a slightly different way. We generate leads through our own marketing engine through the website, and there's a percentage of those that come into those unrostered space which gets passed to partners. And here's a classic example sometimes where we would pass it to a partner and then they would go and create their own deal registration rather than convert the lead, right? Because there's a perception that they need to be the first through the gate to get the deal registration, otherwise they have potential risk to lose it. I think that's a behaviour that we need to change, and if we get closer to our partners and we're investing with the right partners, we should naturally see the deal registrations going up because that's the whole goal. But actually the deal registrations will be with the right, or from the right partners that are strategic to our business. So I would flip it around that way slightly. I can't really answer it directly because I haven't necessarily seen it.
It's a difficult question. I think it gets even more difficult when you have the hyperscalers, which Amanda, you will have been dealing with.
And also the ISVs. So there's influencing partners and then there's fulfillment partners, and it tends to be the fulfillment partner that does the deal registration. But there could be 3 different partners involved, a GSI, an ISV and a reseller, and possibly a disty as well.
I think Ingram Micro famously said, 7 partners involved in the average
in one deal.
Customer solution?
Exactly. So that is a challenge. It's a challenge, but it's a recognised dilemma. So we've been when I was in EMEA partner marketing, we had that discussion. How do you reward partners for their involvement in a single deal where several partners are involved and several different types of partners are involved? Because the way we had our partner and sales organisation structured, it was siloed by partner type. But what happens when you have a deal that goes across several partner types where you have to work together, and how do you recognise and reward each of those partner types' involvement in that big sale? And that is a huge discussion, and it's still going on, and we haven't resolved it. But we have to recognise the partner's involvement. So the partner account manager, poor soul, has got to reward that partner in a way that isn't always monetary, but if you can write up a case study and give them airtime on this was a fantastic win, you know, the win scenarios. A lot of my time in EMEA marketing was amplifying partner wins, big customer wins, but where there was a partner involved, amplify that story.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a monetary reward to the partner, but it's you get a lot of social media out of it, and that could in turn build a pipeline for them.
But
so
it
those
also,
success stories become quite valuable to a partner.
but highlighting a partner like that, to James's your point earlier, it's also about building that groundswell, those stakeholders internally that you can bring along on the journey. That means that you do get their mind share next time,
Yes.
which I think is incredibly important.
And
But
getting recognition is a reward as well.
yeah, especially for those non-transacting partners like you say, your influencers and
Yeah.
and so on. So that's a fundamental problem that, and it was a difficult question, James. I wasn't expecting you to have an answer for it, but it's something that I kind of keeps me awake at night when I think about the channel. Is how do we start, as these products get more and more complex, how do we start to recognise them? And especially coming back to the theme of today's podcast, how do we recognise return on investment if we can't see it, if it's not visible to us?
It's an ongoing discussion, and
Yeah.
it's an evolution as well,
Yeah.
because we're not going to have all the answers. But that willingness to address the elephant in the room, that
Mhm.
willingness to have those painful discussions with sales,
Mhm.
and getting the right people around a table, it's sometimes group therapy.
Yep.
However, it's addressing the challenge. And I think continuing those conversations, we're going to get closer and closer and closer to the solution. We're not there yet,
No.
but this is why I love my job, because we love the challenge.
And
we
it's always
love,
changing.
It's continuously evolving, but the conversation has to move forward, and even baby steps is progression.
Yeah.
So even though we're only taking tiny incremental gains, it's a gain. It's a step in the right direction.
Which in today's market is what many of our businesses are looking for us to achieve, is to continually driving that,
Progress is
quarter-on-quarter
progress. Yeah, progress is progress, no matter how small. It's never wasted, and all the pain of having those discussions, it's not wasted effort, but it's a challenge because we do have to measure success. But there's a lot of soft skills involved as well, and we cannot underestimate the value of building those relationships, building the trust, keeping those painful conversations on the table and inching our way forward to a solution. So that's why people like me and James are so passionate about what we do, because it takes a lot of strength of conviction to actually move the needle. And that's why the channel meetups of this world, when you talk to like-minded people across the vendor spectrum, across your partner spectrum, this is where you get that energy from, because you need a lot of energy, you need a lot of commitment, as well as knowledge and experience. But you need that momentum, energy to move forward. And that's why I love doing these podcasts, I love doing the community, the channel meetups, and we just give each other energy, which is lovely.
Absolutely.
So just kind of starting to bring us to a close, we've talked, and thank you for that summary there, Amanda. Like, I completely agree. Like, this is, in my head, being much more data focused, I tend to think about hard numbers and figures, but what we've learned today is there's qualitative elements, there's surveying partners, there's listening to the relationships that a salesperson or partner salesperson may be having, conversations they may be having. So of all the tactics we've discussed today on selecting some of those right partners, like James, for you, which one stands out most that's driven the biggest impact?
So I think it's hard to pull out one single thing, right? But I would say using data and being that advisor to the sales team has changed the conversation. So therefore, the byproduct of using the data to sit down and have a conversation is then all of a sudden you're driving a different credibility with the sales, with our own internal salespeople. And as a result, you're then having a more productive forward-thinking conversation with the partner as a result of that. So I'd say, yeah, data.
Still comes back to data, but building that relationship with the sales team.
And actually, when you then have that conversation with the sales team, you then glean all of the qualitative information back because you started with something factual, and you start to get that feedback. Whereas actually, if you didn't use that data point as a start point, you still sit there a little bit in the dark prior to having that conversation.
I totally agree. So credibility, marketers have to gain the salespeople's trust to get the seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
We say data, but it's credibility. You have to be credible for them to trust you. And if you can quote a fact which is indisputable, then you have credibility. So I think they're soft skills, but they're based on hard facts. So it is that combination. You can't do one without the other. And then once you've built that trust, then you get the invitation to be at that partner meeting, be part of the QBRs with the partners, influence the partner in the strategy, the mission, and winning hearts. But you have to win their head first.
I completely agree with you there, Amanda. And actually, we had someone at one of our other podcast episodes talk about how marketeers need to essentially be more confident. Like, do you feel in today's world where, let's be honest, marketing needs to play a bigger role in the customer journey. It needs to play a bigger role to educate them before they even speak to sales. Like, I think I'm seeing that your point there being is we need to be more confident as marketeers that we have an important role to play and we should be part of that conversation.
Absolutely.
And we're spending a lot of time, we've done this recently with our channel marketeers, we're enabling them to be better at what they do. So we've taken them on a 5-module program, which effectively makes them become strategic channel marketeers. And it's about, to your point, giving them that confidence, but also enabling them to talk the language of sales. Rather than being the ones that are responding to the request, so I want to invest 10, 20K here because we always have done with that partner, and we want to go to this event because we always have done with that partner. Flip the conversation back round.
So just now forward-looking for a moment, like where do you see the biggest missed opportunity or the biggest potential opportunity for growth? Let's not call it a missed opportunity. Like Amanda, where for you would you focus your efforts now as a channel marketeer?
That's a very good question. Going back to that focus list of partners that we've spent time and effort building with the sales team, it's engaging with those partners because the selection process has happened. Now we need traction, now we need engagement. So yeah, just focusing in on those focus partners.
James? Yeah, I completely agree that it's about, for us, it's about evolving what we've done, and we talked about taking more of an account-based approach with our partners. That's where I think, well, for us anyway, but I suspect for a lot of people, it's taking more of not just an approach with the focused partners, but taking a focused approach through those partners so that you're investing with the right activities into the right accounts.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, James and Amanda, for joining me on another episode of the Tech Marketing Podcast. It's been a pleasure to dive into some of the depths of partner ROI and that relationship with sales. But we hope to have you as guests again soon.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Great, lovely.